Today we're going to look at the Huberman Lab podcast, episode 8, Optimize Your Brain with Science-Based Tools. The key ideas in this podcast are: number 1, neuroplasticity; number 2, plasticity systems; number 3, autonomic arousal; number 4, steps to more wakefulness; number 5, optimizing time of day for tasks; number 6, evening bouts of alertness; number 7, go, no-go pathway; number 8, two-stage creative process; number 9, psychedelics; and number 10, visualization. Idea number 1, neuroplasticity. Plasticity is not the goal. It's the capacity for our nervous system to change. Achieving plasticity is the first step in optimizing your brain, not the end goal. We want to figure out how to access plasticity and direct it towards goal and changes. Idea number 2, plasticity systems. There's short-term plasticity, medium-term plasticity, and long-term plasticity. Short-term plasticity is when any shift you want to achieve in the moment or day, but not looking to hold on to forever. Example, using coffee to become more alert when you need to wake up early for a flight. Number 2, medium-term plasticity. The undergraduate premed phenomenon, memorizing for an exam. You don't want something to be embedded in the memory too long, but need it for a specified period of time and then discard it. Number 3, long-term plasticity. Speaking a new language, that is, recalling a new skill without much effort. Idea number 3, autonomic arousal. Neuroplasticity rides on the foundation of autonomic arousal in 24-hour cycles. Rewiring and connections happen during non-sleep deep rest and deep sleep. We cannot access plasticity and rewire our brain if we're not sleeping well. We have natural hardwired sleep and wake cycles that are not the same across all people. We may consider shifting to an early to bed, early to rise bedtime if we wake up in the middle of the night frequently, or in the early hours and have difficulty sleeping again. We have light detecting cells in our eyes. That's why we tend to wake up with sunlight and bright light even if we don't feel fully rested. If you view light in the morning, connections between the circadian clock and the adrenals that trigger cortisol is optimized and helped you wake up. If you have caffeine right when you wake up, there's a mechanism that induces a mid-morning crash because endogenous mechanisms for suppressing adenosine are blocked. Idea number 4, steps to more wakefulness. Number 1, get sunlight exposure first thing in the morning. Number 2, delay caffeine intake for the first 2 hours in the day. Number 3, drink water upon waking. Number 4, early morning exercise, that is within 3 hours of waking, will increase bias towards action throughout the day. Number 5, fasted and low-carb states lend themselves to alertness. Note, fasting increases alertness, but if you are so hungry you are constantly thinking about food, it is not good for learning. Number 6, non-sleep deep rest protocol, that is 30 to 90 minutes in the afternoon when you hit a wall. Number 7, minimize bright light exposure between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. Idea number 5, optimizing time of day for tasks. People tend to feel ready to tackle tough tasks around mid-morning, but the peak of alertness varies by person. Rule of thumb for background noise is identify the source of lack of focus. If we need to quiet autonomic arousal, silence is best for learning. If you are feeling groggy, background noise such as music, coffee shop, etc. could help facilitate action. In alert states, you are biased towards action and biased towards suppressing non-action. In clear, calm and focused state, you are ready to tackle difficult tasks. The goal is to have energy and focus to pursue the necessary steps and energy and focus to suppress any distractions. Eating shifts us towards a state of calm. Fasting shifts us towards a state of alertness. Idea number 6. Evening bouts of alertness. The peak of wakefulness and suppression of sleep signal actually happens late in the day. Many people experience a blip of wakefulness late in the evening towards bedtime. The late peak in alertness and activity can last about 45 to 60 minutes. People often confuse this bout with insomnia or an inability to sleep. Use this peak for mundane tasks, that is, preparing for the next day, cleaning, etc., instead of worrying that you aren't tired and won't sleep, which can set off a vicious cycle. Idea number 7. Go, no-go pathway. It is the circuit related to the basal ganglia. The forebrain is involved in rational thought, planning, and action. The forebrain is always trying to decide, what do I do, how do I do it, and when do I do it. Basal ganglia has one set of connections to the cortex to facilitate action. The no-go pathway suppresses action and involves dopamine binding to D2 receptors. Idea number 8. Two-stage creative process. Creativity is taking existing elements and rearranging them in novel ways. There are two paths to creativity. Number 1, creative discovery mode, and number 2, linear implementation mode. Creative discovery mode is more random and facilitated by relaxed, almost sleepy states. Linear implementation mode is accessible in alert stages. Using substances to access creativity can be good for creative discovery mode, but not for translating that into linear implementation mode. Many people are good at accessing one of the creativity state, but not the other. Idea number 9. Psychedelics. Psychedelics were thought to unleash sensory processing and make it less filtered. In principle, psychedelics do allow different areas of the brain to communicate more broadly than they would otherwise. Psychedelics can be hazardous if not working with a certified practitioner. Psychedelics are not good for children. Psychedelics may open the user to creative discovery mode, but not linear implementation mode. There may be roles for psychedelics in a clinical context under the guidance of a psychiatrist. Idea number 10. Visualization. The brain has associated networks that are typically suppressed and can be released, but it's challenging to optimize. If you can be linear in the way you visualize, it can be powerful. Many people are challenged to have linear focus while visualizing, so it's not leveraged properly. Final summary and key takeaways. Achieving plasticity is the first step in optimizing your brain, not the end goal. Leverage periods of natural wakefulness and sleepiness anchored to core biology. The goal is to have energy and focus to pursue and energy and focus to suppress action, not flow state. For learning while alert, the ideal background is quiet or silent. For learning while sleepy or tired, the best scenario is some background noise to trigger autonomic arousal. Eating shifts us towards state of calm. Fasting shifts us towards a state of alertness. Creativity has two paths. Creative discovery mode, that is more random and facilitated by relaxed and sleepy states, and linear implementation mode, which is facilitated by alertness. Some tips for more wakefulness every day. Get sunlight exposure first thing in the morning. Delay caffeine intake for 2 hours to give endogenous hormones a chance. Drink water upon waking. And exercise within the first 3 hours of waking. This is the end. Thank you.